All right, good evening. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Mr. Blake. I am actually the department chair here at Kamehameha School's Science Department here at high school. I've been actually teaching for a long time. I'm actually a graduate of 1991 and was lucky enough to come to this school from kindergarten. And I've had the opportunity to be here and working with your wonderful students for at least 1 year, for some a little bit longer because they're repeats. But welcome to the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, fourth. I think it's the fourth annual Hoʻoulu Kamehameha Symposium. Now, things have changed a little bit from where things were. The Mālama Honua class, which we'll talk a little bit about, is actually in its second year. And we took an opportunity to take a symposium and do something a little bit different. If they may or may not have told you, one, this is their semester exam, as opposed to taking a traditional semester exam, which is a multiple guest type of thing. This is one of the things that we did for them to try and do things a little bit differently. And then also, besides you, thank you all for joining us this wonderful evening, but it is being webcast to literally tens of people out on the internet right now. So while that is happening also, I've sent everybody through KS Connect. We sent you, hi mom, hi dad. Hi, Kate and Riley, it's awesome. Okay, but what's gonna be happening is they'll be having an opportunity to see this, but it's just something for us to have. It's something a little bit different because where they're going, it may not be a lot of tests and stuff, especially if they're not gonna be heading into school. And eventually they will when they get out of school. Life isn't about taking tests. Tests are a little bit different. But the Hoʻoulu Kamehameha Symposium is talking about this, and a lot of the things that we see here are based upon little bits of experiences that we're going to be having. So if you take a look at this quote, which I thought was very, very valid, I'll let you have an opportunity to read it. And as you're seeing it, of looking at where things are, besides being scientists of what they are, because they are scientists, they're observers, but the creativity piece is something that's very, very important in terms of what we're doing. And this is what actually helped to have this symposium and be a part of it. So in looking at this, we're seeing where we are with creativity and innovation. Now, for me, science for a lot of you has been, okay, we go to class, we do labs, we do this, and then we do exactly what the teacher said, and then you get what you get. But for us, of looking at least for me, seeing where things are, science is about creativity and innovation. So innovation consists of seeing what everybody has seen and thinking what nobody has thought. And where we're going to be leading as we move into our future, which is uncertain, we want them to be able to not only do what they know how to do, but be able to do other things which will help them become greater thinkers and go further than we ever have. And, you know, a lot of it is getting out of what we do traditionally. As it says there, once we rid ourselves of traditional thinking, we can get on with creating the future. And the challenge is this future is unknown. And that's what we're working on, giving them tools so that they can go out and see where they're going to be going and making these things work. So again, this is the Mālama Honua class, our sustainable future. It's a second year in this iteration of this class. Last year, it was our first year, moving on to our second year with this. And understanding what we are and what we're about, you know, Mālama is to care for, to attend to care, preserve for, and then to conduct as a service, to serve, honor, care, and preservation or support, which is the idea of it. Typically, people think of Mālama as just caring, but it's also conducting as service, which is something that we're looking at also doing. And again, when looking at Honua, it's talking about the earth, the land, the world, but as taking what we're doing with the Mālama Honua class and going out for it, finding themselves was a part of the journey. Now, a little bit about us. Last year, with our first year, our students were able to come together and find an identity for us. And the identity was about this. One of the processes that they did do was taking a look at the different symbolism behind a lot of what we do and to find it. And so we ended up coming up with this. We call it Ka'iwa Kilo Moku, and all of your sons and daughters actually got a shirt powered by Mr. Blake for them to be representing as them going through and taking whatever they have done to go out there and make and make a difference in whatever they decide to do. But when looking at about the identity of our class, so our class itself, again, was made up by a very small group. This small group of individuals who are crazy enough to take the class with us had their symposium around this time last year. And as you can see, literally tens of people attended this one as well. But this year, you know, one of the things that we saw with this journey is as they're coming along, they see what there was from back then to where they are now, is they've come a long way. And it's really, really important for them to understand from my job as a teacher to them is to help them to see what they can't see and to make them become a little bit better every opportunity that they get. And we had a lot of that. And so this is a little bit about where their journey has been.
Of this land.
Yeah, you want to dig out what's in the pukanui. You're not too sure. Oh, maybe you should go a little deeper. Smell it. If you cannot tell if it smells not good, then you dig out a piece and you taste it. Yeah. And it's a softer color. You might want to do more of an anai. Anai means to spring. Okay? So you're adding the weight of the stone. I'm actually not putting any muscle into this. I'm using the weight of the stone. There's other ones where they're more
Ena igale noko Iku pono aole pau
I ka pono kumu hapai.
Ke mau ke au ka aina I ka pono.
E mau ke au ka aina I ka pono
Wait, there's more. Just kidding. But what you saw there was a kind of a little bit of what they were doing. You know, there's a lot of experiential learning. We got out as much as we could. I would show you where our garden is, but it's actually around the corner because they're actually going to be doing a whole bunch of work here over the next, over summer. So we had to move our stuff, which they did very well, pretty much in a day. Good job. And so the next group will be able to move it back. When looking at sustainability and the definition of where sustainability is the idea of the endurance of systems and processes. And through our experiences, we learn ways to make our practices sustainable. So when seeing this, and the idea is here at Kamehameha, it's kind of a big deal. We do have our sustainability manager as well as sustainability council. And we had a lot of work with, she had actually came a couple of times, Amy Brinker. And so one of the things that she said was sustainability is about resilience. I think we owe it to our founder to do whatever we can to endure that Kamehameha Schools is the most resilient, high performance organization that it can be. And part of it is, and I'm a believer, by setting the foundation right, by having the individuals who are there and then planting the seeds with our wonderful youth, they'll be able to take that wherever they go. So again, the idea of the symposium, it's a culmination of the work that they've been doing over the fourth quarter. So it's 8 weeks of dedicated work in creativity, innovation, and 21st century skills. And the idea, it's a collaboration by lots of different things. A lot of the classes that we learn here, not only in Kamehameha, but in general, are very, very isolated, and there isn't a lot of collaboration between there. And so what your students observed was how the real world works. They found out that not everything works the way that it does in school. Many of them found that a lot of the roadblocks which didn't make sense to them were actually by adults and by policies that we set. And those are the kind of things that we saw because when they went in with open eyes and the naive students that they are. And when they came out, they were like, wow, I don't understand. How come we can't do this? So it was just little things like that because the rules that we typically have here and actually in a very, very great institution oftentimes are barriers, and we have to find a way to get through those barriers or around the barriers to make those things work. But the idea is we want to make sure that our students are going to be prepared for our future. And this future is unknown. We don't know what this future is. If you think about this we're educating them. We have actually, of the 23 students that we have in class, 22 of them are seniors. Our one junior is going to be coming back next year. Hopefully we made some leeway in terms of what he can see and where the world can be. But we're already educating them for a world that's outdated because when they're done with university, hopefully in 4 years, parents, if they're going to college, I'm hoping it's in 4 years, who knows what the world is going to be like? You know, the world is changing so fast that we don't know what it's going to be like, and we're preparing them for this future. So we don't know what to do for it, but we're going to do our best to give them the tools and figuring out, for me, where science lies in this, because this is a science class. Where can we do in creating our 21st century global citizens? And then where do sustainable actions fit? Because as you know, our islands were pretty sustainable before contact. You know, our ancestors were living here, they were doing their own thing, and they were supposedly having 1 million individuals who were living not only on this island, but across our island chains. And now we pretty much freak out when there's a threat of a hurricane because we have to get our toilet paper, you know, or things like that. Or if the boat stopped coming, we got 2 weeks. 2 weeks if the boat stopped coming, which doesn't make any sense for us. Our population is the same, yet we're so dependent upon what goes out there that we can't really make that happen. So we're teaching them a whole bunch of other skills that they can take it. And what's really funny to me is that these are so-called and been called 21st century skills. But the thing is, these have been around way before the 21st century was here. And these are the things that are going to take them to not only be the ones who know how to fish and to do something with it, which is important. because you don't want to necessarily give things to them. They want to actually give them the tools so that they can take it and do whatever they can with it. And so again, what I've seen is science roles is a systematic approach to these problems. We don't necessarily give them the answers, but we give them the tools to figure these out. And then creatively define an innovative solution by taking what they know and making these things work. And the idea of the importance of the content that they're learning versus open-ended problem solving. One of the things that you saw, we had an opportunity to go into the Waihe'e water tunnel, which is someplace that not a lot of us go to see what our actual water and where our water table comes from. And from that, we learned a little bit and went into things such as water rights, which is a pretty big deal. And to figuring out where they can go, because when they come back, if they're going away or if they are here, we want them to become the servant leaders and actually just the leaders in general who can take and lead our people to where they're going to be going next. And that's what has led us to developing into this project. And so it's based around this question: how can we make Kamehameha a sustainable or better place to sustainable practices? And through this process, what they had to do was research and find an issue that was somewhere on our campus, ask questions about it through talking about it, being exposed to individuals such as Amy Brinker, our sustainability manager, and to revise and repeat to figure out what these answers are going to be. To create, engineer the solution, and document, report the information for their findings in a clear and concise manner, which you're going to be seeing tonight. They're not being graded on whether or not they were successful. They're being graded on how they're able to write about their process and see what it is, because I can tell you now, and you hear about it, not everybody was successful. And that's fine, because life isn't 100% correct all the time. And so with this, they're using a lot of technology. You know, they created a project webpage, which they may or may not have shown you. They've done a lot of things here. Daily blogs, Google Docs, Google Hangouts, all these different things of what they've been doing is finding ways to connect, because with the world of technology that we live in, it's easy to make these connections and make these things work. And so once they found the solution, they had to assess if the solution was actually solving the problem, or if they even could, because you'll hear from a number of individuals, they've met a lot of roadblocks and what they have to do with to make these things work. But no solution is ever 100% correct the first time that they do it. And sometimes these answers that they're finding are actually going to lead to more questions. And that's actually the scientific process, and that's actually how real life works. So in looking at this, and what you'll be seeing here is this symposium and what it's about and what they've been doing. The process is taking them a lot of different places. 3 of them actually are dealing with a very similar type of solution that they got from our sustainability manager. But going out there, spreading the message, doing those things, and attacking these problems is something that they weren't very used to. Many of them had to get in front of adults, which was very different. A lot of them got their hands dirty, the one dealing with food waste that you hear about. But getting out there and doing something about it, because just learning about it is one thing, but I'm a believer that you have to get out there and do it, because if you're not a part of the solution, you're actually part of the problem. So again, the symposium itself is a celebration of problem solving, creative thinking for our students. So 6 groups with 6 problems with 6 different processes that came up with 6 unique solutions. Although some of them may seem similar, they came out to these ways on their own. So some of the things they've learned, just so you know, they learned that working in teams is hard. Working in groups is even harder, especially with all the things that are going on. Especially as you know, seniors are doing lots and lots of different things. But helping to build relationships, both interpersonal within their class, which they did a pretty good job of, but also out there in connected, because a lot of them just don't know what they can actually and what they're accomplishing, what they can accomplish. Finding a way to make a difference and not just be a body here in our school, but make a difference in our school. And then we're trying to figure out to get them to see and how to be servant leaders when they're here. So a lot of us believe as Kumu that they want them to fail here because it's safe. Because when they're going out there and failing, especially for the amount of money they're going to be paying to go to their next level, we want to make sure that they're in a safe environment, it's not novel, and when they make mistakes, they'll know what to do to process and move on. And the whole thing is we want to make sure that they want to observe and pay attention, and through their EK identity and connection to have a place to make a plan, and then having the courage to put into action. So in looking at this and seeing what this is all about, Innovation, again, is almost insane by definition. Most people view any truly innovative idea as stupid because if it was a good idea, somebody would have done it already. It was said by Ben Horowitz, and he's actually a venture capitalist out there. So he actually, for his job, sits around and has all this money that I guess is burning holes in his pocket and listens to people pitch things to him. And finding ways for them to understand that this process is going to be a challenge, and they're about ready to share it with you today. So without any further ado, we'll have our first group come up and they'll begin their process.
Aloha everyone, we are Mālama Hoʻoulu and our project deals with the KS donation station. Our group is consisting of China Andrade, Christian Silva, myself, Kiana Kamara, and Remy Sanchez. To start off with our presentation, we'd like to give you some background to what the KS donation station is. So the Kamehameha School's Kauai Ha'o Plaza headquarters noticed that a lot of their waste, 89% of their waste was going to landfills and incineration. So to reduce that number, they launched 3 programs: the Easy Recycling Pilot, the If Can, Flip Can, and the KS Donation Station. So the Easy Recycling Pilot is basically these small blue bins underneath employees' desks, and they can put in any recyclable items, and then these bins are emptied out into centrally located bins, as seen in this picture again. And then these bins are emptied out into larger recycling bins around the vicinity. The next one is the If Can, Flip Can. So employees through this program are encouraged to share trash cans so that they can, if their trash can is empty, then they can use it like another day. And the custodians won't have to change it out and waste trash bags. Lastly, the donation station is basically a free store for KS affiliates. It's basically a space set up to collect unused or lightly used items, usually educational items that can be used by other employees. And it was initially only open to KP employees, but now they're trying to extend it out to more people. So right now, the donation station is located in Kaka'ako, 401 Cook Street, and their hours are from 2 to 4 for KS affiliates, and then 4 to 6 for non-KS people. And it's open from Thursday to Saturday.
Hi, my name is Remini. Our main problem that we focused on was the amount of waste that students and teachers were throwing away, which was mainly supplies like pencils, pens, erasers, and binders, but they're still good and reusable, so we wanted to find a way to reuse them. And Amy Brinker came to our class twice to talk to us, and she gave us the idea to connect with the donation station, and we wanted to get our Kapālama campus involved, so we decided to start with the teachers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christian Silva, and I will be talking about our group's proposed solution. So with the help of Amy Brinker, we decided to take on the donation station idea, and we took the idea they had down at Kauai Ha'o Plaza, and we fit it to our group's design and kind of fit it to our school. So the first step in our solution was to first distribute the boxes in the in the classrooms and to wait over a period of time for people to drop off the supplies and the materials. And our next step was then to collect those materials and to then transport them down to the Kakako station, where the supplies would then be available for people to use them.
Aloha, I'm China, and I will be talking about our procedure that we did during this project. So branching off of our solution, we decided that we would start with an elevator pitch towards the head of each department. So we visited the math department. In one area, we had a meeting with all of the department heads, and we spoke about our elevator pitch and what this project was about and what we plan to do to make this project a success. So we needed to explain our elevator pitch and later get a go from each of the head of each department. And after we got a go, we decided that we would keep in touch with all of the teachers. One, because it's very important. Communication was a very big role that played in this project. We also started to place boxes, just like how Christian said. We placed boxes in various offices around the high school campuses, so not just upper campus, but lower campus as well. And we also, communication was a big role, so we also kept emailing them, making sure that they were always involved in this huge project, not knowing that this box is in this area or this box is in this area. So we sent out emails to keep reminding them to be involved. And after each results came back every week, we would go down to check the boxes at each office, see the difference between which office collected more items than other offices. And because of that, we logged them down on our Google Docs that we used, and we recorded them for compare and contrast. So within the span of 2 weeks, we were only able to collect 27 items, which is about 5.3 kilograms, and it came from only one of the 7 locations that we set up. It's a little bit disappointing, but it's okay because our biggest problem was trying to keep teachers motivated to keep on donating their items to us, and yeah.
Auntie Ui, she's from the 910 Pocky office. She also just emailed me today at 4, and she said she had another box for us. She was the only one who gave us a box.
So our analysis for this project is we found it really hard to get in contact with the teachers because as much as we emailed them and as much as we bothered them and actually went to their offices, it's really hard to get their actual input, because we can tell them to do it and then they'll be like, yeah, okay, we'll do it, and then the action isn't there. So we found it kind of hard for the teachers to be involved in this. We kept checking weekly at each box throughout the high school campuses, and we found out that they were just taking up space. It was very difficult to, I guess, bring their attention to the boxes because they're always in and out of their offices, and it kind of just started to look like it was taking up space or another part of the furniture that didn't really matter. So that was our analysis.
To go along with what China said, we also think that we could have made our boxes a little more appealing so our teachers would actually recognize that it's not to be recycled and it's to put in supplies or something. And we also, well, Mr. Blake told us that sometimes teachers get overwhelmed, especially it being the end of the year. They have a lot of things to do and a lot of gradings to finalize. So that could have been a big part of why they didn't have time to clean out their office or donate supplies.
So in conclusion, we only collected 27 items and 5.3 kilograms of donations. Again, our biggest problem was basically the teachers' willingness to actually participate in the program, because this program is for them to take part in and they're our biggest target. So yeah, that was our biggest obstacle. As our group members said, some things that we could have done differently is to make the boxes a little bit more appealing and catch their attentions a little bit more, because we just use recycled boxes that to add to the sustainability factor, but we could have done a little bit more to, yeah. Another thing that we could have done is also like communicate with the teachers a little bit more, but like face to face, because sometimes teachers respond better if they know the person. So yeah, this project it had a lot of good feedback in the beginning and teachers were very interested. So I'm really hoping that next year, another team from Mālama Honua or another group of students would take up this project, because it is a really good project to take part in. And a lot of people can benefit from it. So our hope is that someone will take up this project and hopefully our campus will be a little bit more involved with the Kauai Hall Plaza's KS donation station. Okay, that's about it, and thank you for listening. Are there any questions?
This is an interactive part of this thing that you can if you want to. Don't let them off that easy. I can't be the woman on this question.
Oh gosh.
We're very. Okay, go ahead. Oh God.
Yes, Mr. Blake.
Okay, so I think you alluded to a lot of the things, a lot of challenges that you had. So it was timing. Do you think that if you had, or do you think that the 2-week window that you had to do this was reasonable? To get like a significant amount of results?
No, not really. But in my opinion, I don't think that a lot of teachers would be able to donate that much items over like a long period of time, because a lot of them would just get rid of their items just like one time, and then they wouldn't really have anything else to donate. Yes.
Would you suspect any different outcome from students if it was to happen with students?
We were actually thinking about involving students, but it's really hard to pinpoint specific students because we didn't want to do the entire class. And we're also thinking about like if they did donate, we would give them something in return, because like students always love that when they get like, oh, if I do this, I'll get this. So we were planning on doing that, but because of the 2-week span, we decided just to pinpoint it to the teachers.
Also, another thing is that since the project was like so towards the end of the school year, they already have our ASKS already has like a program where they or like a day where students can donate their supplies. So we didn't really want to like clash with that. Yes, Mr. Blake.
You know, it's pretty cool because everybody's finishing up their end of school time, but everybody's kind of dumb stuff. It'll be a great time to do it. I mean, do you think that there's any possible way that maybe you could collect some stuff and then maybe get it down there? Because I know there's going to be a whole, Cornelia is going to be purging a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So that might be something to consider. And the timing, I think the timing will be tough though. But it's kind of tough for you guys because realistically after this, your final exam is done and you know how much that means. So no real question.
Yes.
I think too, at the end of the year, the students leave things in their locker room.
Oh, yeah.
Lockers,
Mm-hmm.
and you should see the day after everybody leaves. And these are some brand new things that are just all over the place. So I don't know if you would consider that or have other students see if they would be interested. But there's a lot of great things that parents buy that come out of these lockers that are totally usable.
Thank you.
Okay.
So great job by our first group. Now what is happening is you'll see a shift. So our next group is actually going to have a similar topic. So our group 2 will be coming up. While that is happening, our wonderful students finish up your totaling, making sure that as you're doing your evals, want to be clear. Like it says it's out of 4, but notice there's a multiplier next to there. So like the first one is times 5, etc. And please make sure you total it up before you hand it in for me. Time was 9. What it was? Hold on. They're allowed 9 to 12 minutes. Yes, they did. Thank you. I'll let them know. Well, they'll see it on the internet. It's all good. Next group, if you guys can come and join us, I believe it's group 6. Group 6 is coming up. What doesn't show what on the screen? It doesn't show.
Aloha. My name is Austin Lariosa.
And my name is Kai Wong.
Our other group members, Hoku and Malay, could not be here tonight, but we will be showing you our process in the continuation of the last group's project, Donation Station.
So we first started our project by making a list of what problems we saw around campus, and so some stuff that we saw was recycling, so like cans and bottles, bathroom waste like the excessive paper towels being used, carpooling, and unused office supplies, which is the one that we chose to tackle.
So we took a lot of time in looking at carpooling and the increase of students that drive on campus, and we thought that it could really save a lot of energy if we promoted like carpooling. But after meeting with some sustainability people from Kauai Ha'o, Amy Brinker and Nicole Chatterson, we decided to go with the unused office supplies. So the problem that we tackled was every year our school wastes a lot, like thousands of pounds of different things and supplies used from the faculty and staff.
When Amy Brinker came in to talk to us, she actually shared with us that it's better to reuse supplies instead of recycle them, because when you reuse supplies, it saves energy and time, because you don't have to take it to a plant and break it down and use energy to recycle those products. The solution that we came up with for our problem was teaming up with sustainability managers from Kauai Hall Plaza, Nicole Chatterson and Amy Brinker, to create the donation station in Kaka'ako. The donation station is an educational place where items can be reused instead of just taking up spaces on shelves or in landfills.
So what we decided to do, like the other group, was meet with teachers and advertise the donation station and just raise awareness for the availability. But taking another step, we wanted to go down to the store and work it and see what their philosophy and belief about this reusing and recycling these office supplies.
Some things that we did down at the donation station was collecting the donations and weighing them in boxes to see how much we got. We also like organized the donation stations and help customers get what they needed. Our project came in 3 steps. The first step was to talk to different teachers and go and promote the donation station. We also put up flyers all over the school to um, promote them to come down and take some supplies that they need. The next step we had was going to the donation station and working there. And the last step was collecting data.
So we found it very difficult to schedule meetings with teachers because we are going off of their time and not ours. We found that putting up flyers was kind of difficult, and we had to wait a while for it to get approved by the leadership. And we found it very interesting in going down to work the Kakako donation station, and we found that it was hard to plan times to get down there and collect data. So we found data to measure the effectiveness of our advertising and raising awareness for the donation station. We wanted to first measure 2 things: the amount of donations using pounds and the amount of people and visitors that went to the donation station and used the facilities.
So as you can see by the table that we made, we worked 4 weeks, and the first week we actually got the most amount of donations coming in, which was 1,500. But as you can see, like the first 3 weeks, we did not have a lot of visitors come in until about the 4th week, which is we had 20 visitors come in, and that's right about the time we started putting up flyers around school. So
As you can see in the graph and table, that the different types of office supplies that were donated and received, and you can see that there are a lot of binders and stuff.
yeah, so that contributed to the pounds.
So as you can see in the graph, one problem that we faced was there was a lot of donations in the beginning as we started, but we did not receive as much visitors as we expected. But the last week we seen our work actually working, and we seen an increase of visitors to go to the donation station. We thought of some possibilities of why that there were so low visitors in the first couple of weeks, and we came up with that it was a new store. It didn't really have advertisement, which is why we tried to raise awareness, and it was kind of an inconvenient location, and not really anybody knew where it was, so not a lot of people knew about it.
In conclusion, our project was pretty successful. We were able to collect a lot of donations and help out some people who came into the store.
So besides learning about sustainability and how to reuse our office supplies, we learned 3 things that were kind of important for life, which is working in groups is kind of hard, and communicating with each other and finding out how we can work things out. Talking to teachers and adults and kind of telling them what they should do is kind of hard because you don't know how they'll receive it. And that the effort that we put into working the donation station or advertising, it would really show off in our presentation and in our results.
Next steps for our project is currently Amy Brinker and Nicole Chatterson are working with our school to try and obtain a lease for the donation station so they can keep it open all year round. And this is really good because if it opens all year round, then people can come in and get the supplies they need, help more people, and yeah.
So we just wanted to say thank you for all of you guys coming here. And a special thank you to Mr. Blake, Amy Brinker, Nicole Chatterson, and Tasha, who are not here today. And just all the teachers and faculty and staff that donated and took a part in the donation station. Thank you.
Is there any questions?
How many hours per week would you work?
We work from 3 to 6.
On Thursday and Friday for 4 weeks. So yeah.
Is Kamehameha School the only one that's benefited by this?
At first it was, but we talked and we communicated with some of the DOE people around the area of Kaka'ako to be able to use these supplies and use this facility.
I can also answer some of that. So in talking to Amy Bricker about it, so it was a KS thing. However, they made a conscious effort to looking at it, understanding that it is going to be for everyone. So they did reach out to a number of DOE schools. Since it's still in its infancy, if you're looking at this process, the idea is to have a lot of these things be repurposed and reused as opposed to recycled. So it was, but we're beginning to expand some of that for the future.
Any other questions?
Well, as of right now, we only were taking in donations from the faculty and staff, but that's another possibility that we can look into for future projects.
And elaborating on something at that, because again, it's something that just started. I believe when she shared it with us in March, it started. And so the idea is to expand in order to help the process. Because it's in its infancy, we wanted to make it something that is well known and so it's well traveled. So people can come to drop things off and or pick up stuff. So we wanted to be a little bit more open, but as he said, we're looking at trying to find ways, or they are looking to try and find ways to spread out the reach in order to make that work.
I'm sorry. Is it specifically for DOE only?
No, it's open for anyone to come in. Yeah.
Do you have any sources of like
No, it's
We-
on our detailed design.
No, we don't have any sites because most of the things were our pictures. But yeah.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
N- 901. So you were able to learn a little bit about the donation station. We'll actually have one more group talking a little bit about this at the a little bit later in our presentations. But we're moving now from off campus, even though I was dealing with it and talking about the donation station. We're now bringing things back onto campus. And so the next few groups you'll be hearing are going to be talking about things that they identified right here on our campus for them to address and deal with. So.
Good. Yeah.
Check. Check one. Okay.
Introducing all the way from the back of the room. Please welcome Group 1.
Hello. We are Group 1. I'm Alika. This is Shaylin, and this is Brenna. And this is our project Ho'oulu ya Kamehameha, making campus better through sustainability.
So to begin our project, we first needed to identify a sustainability problem that we wanted to tackle and try to fix or improve. So we first started out by creating a bug list, and this bug list ultimately is a list about things that we noticed around campus that we thought we should be improving or fixing on sustainability wise. So as a group, we noticed that we waste a lot of things, such as food and akahi, paper, recyclables, and water, even the dormitories. We also noticed that we waste a lot of energy, especially with AC and lighting. Classrooms and bathrooms tend to keep on their AC and lighting, even when no one is using them properly. We also conducted interviews with faculty. I myself conducted an interview with Kumajimi Chen, the social studies department teacher, and Brenna went ahead and did an interview with our vice principal, Ms. Porras Hang. And when I spoke to Kumajimi Chen about asking him if there was any way that he would suggest to make our campus a better place sustainability-wise, he mentioned that students should pay for their food at Akahi so that we become more aware about taking food and not wasting. He also mentioned that we, as a campus, we should go off the grid and focus and utilize our technology more instead of using a lot of paper.
In my interview with Ms. Forrest Tang, we talked about the general idea of sustainability, and she said that, you know, sustainability is kind of prevalent on campus through like recycling and all that stuff, but she feels like it isn't a behavior we try to instill in students. In her words, she said, there must be some type of sustainability because we have a department for that, but in a student's eyes, they don't see that department. Like, we just found out about Amy Brinker through this class. And so she feels like students need to be more aware about sustainability. All right. So as a group, we decided to tackle energy. Amy Brinker helped us, who is the sustainability manager for Kamehameha Schools, to identify this and to identify that lighting and AC is one of the most consumed resources on campus. The lights are left on basically all day, and AC is left on even when nobody is in the room, or in the bathrooms, lights are left on even when no one is using it. So that doesn't seem very effective.
So we did a lot of brainstorming and discussing with each other. And so our first idea we came up with was putting light sensors in like rooms and bathrooms, but we figured it's pretty expensive, and if there were light sensors, it's not that reliable, because then like, what if a gecko walked past it, the lights would turn on when nobody's in there. So we also thought of changing all the light bulbs to more energy efficient, but then that also costs a lot of money and time restraints. So after talking with Amy Brinker, we came up with a behavior change idea, so where we can just bring people aware of turning off the lights when they don't need to be used. So we came up with two ideas. One idea was making little posters and putting them in classrooms. We have a poster in here right now. Just by the light switch, to like when people are walking out, they see it. They're like, oh, nobody's in here, turn off the light. Then we also came up with a lights out day, where there would be certain days or a day where we just turn off the lights and just use the natural lighting in classrooms. So these are our 4 different posters we made. There. We went to the SPC and we printed out a lot, laminated them, cut them separately, and then after we got them approved, we went classroom to classroom and asked the teacher if we can put it in their room, just like explaining them a little bit about our project.
So for our Campus Lights Out Day idea, we first came up with our proposal, and we went ahead and met with all the department heads of Upper Campus, and we mentioned to them what our project focus is, the benefits of it, and what we really want to do with it. We wanted to focus on the light energy that we are consuming on campus, and we told them that we'll be monitoring them for about a week, just to see what their light usage is, and after that week, we'll be having a Campus Lights Out Day. So we're just giving them a heads up, proposing our project, and we got a lot of great feedback from them. So after that, we went ahead and moved into our design process. So with our design process, we decided to do our Campus Lights Out Day on only 3 buildings in Upper Campus. It would be Konia, Kahumanu, and Haleakala. We met with Amy Brinker, the Director of Facilities, Construction, and Maintenance, and we spoke to her about how this Campus Lights Out Day could be possible. She gave us really great ideas and basically told us that we're able to get data on this from energy meters each building has on campus. So each building has its own energy meter. So we discussed with her and talked over dates that we could possibly do our Campus Lights Out Day. So after the design process, we went ahead and sought out approval from the administration. So we met with them and emailed them and discussed certain dates that we can do our Campus Lights Out Day. And we happily got it approved to do our Campus Lights Out Day. So after our approval, we did the announcement to the teachers. So as you can see in this flyer, it shows that it's just Konia Lights Out Day. So as a group, we decided just to do Lights Out Day with just Konia building because it was easier for us to monitor. And we didn't mind starting off small with our project and then possibly expanding in the future, but it was easier for us to maintain and just look over Konia. So we went ahead and announced this Campus Lights Out Day or Konia Lights Out Day that we got approved. And we shared teachers this flyer. Each teacher got a flyer. And we also made PA announcements on the system for all the students and faculty to hear that it'll be effective.
So on this slide, it shows our data that was taken from these buildings before and after our Campus Lights Out Day. So in the blue, these numbers were taken on even days, and in the white, these numbers are taken on odd days. The reason why we did this on correlating block days is so that classes are going to be relatively the same, and so our data should, coincide with each other. And these numbers in the red show the differences between the before and after. So as you can see, some of them went down and some of them even went up. And in these, this graph just visually shows this difference between those 2 days.
Okay, so in conclusion, after this whole process, we saw that our campus actually uses a lot of energy.
So to take it a step further, as you saw earlier in our data, it was all under average kilowatts an hour per day. So we went ahead and we wanted to see what a full day of energy usage is on these 3 buildings. So we took a full day of school, let's say around 7:30 to 3:30, which is 8 hours. And we got the average of the energy usage of those 3 buildings, Konia, Haleakala, and Kahumanu. And we multiplied that by 8. And those numbers right next to it is the average kilowatts a day. Then we went ahead and added those 3 buildings all together, their energy usage, and converted them into megawatts. So total, Konia, Kahumanu, and Haleakala uses 21.5 megawatts a day. And that is prevalent to it powers over 4,000 homes. So just these 3 buildings is able to power 4,000 homes, over 4,000 homes in just 1 day. So we use a lot of energy on campus.
So at the end of all of this, as a group, we saw that there wasn't much change in our Lights Out Day effort. And this was due to many different problems.
So one of the main problems was time, our time constraint. We didn't have that much time because there was also AP exams, so they can't turn off the lights in those rooms. And then with the teachers and students, it's just because we didn't have that much time, we didn't have enough time to let everybody know and have enough participation. So it was more of like a participation problem where some teachers didn't know that we had a lights out day, but some teachers in different buildings knew. That was cool.
So overall, we would really like to see our Lights Out Day continue in the future because we believe that in full throw and with a lot of participation, we can actually drop down our energy usage here on campus. We also would like to continue our little posters and perhaps even put up more to keep on spreading the awareness that we use a lot of energy and that we should be saving energy. And perhaps these posters will do our ultimate goal of changing the behavior mindset of everyone to become more sustainable and do sustainable practice. Mahalo. Oh, okay. Any questions?
Now that you studied and everything, does your mom still have to tell you to turn off the bathroom light?
No.
That's a behavior change. I know I did my kids all the time. Turn off the light.
Yeah. Any other questions?
So on a personal level, now that you've kind of seen this in a school setting, how does it change your personal behaviors? Maybe not just lighting, but other things about sustainability.
Personally, I used to always keep my fan running on in the dorm. But like after I realized like how much energy we like students in general like use, I felt like really bad about it. So I started like turning off like little things and just like here and there to just try save energy and like actually practice what I preach, like being more sustainable. And I think it's like I believe it's like it's spreading throughout and it's helping. Yeah.
Okay.
After like during this project, I found myself like, after I use the bathroom at school, just like turning off the lights, and I thought that was like a behavior change in my own self, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and you started to see it like spread. Like sometimes I go into the school bathrooms and the lights are off and I get a little surprise. It's like, oh yes, like someone's actually continuing our project, like by turning off the lights and looking at our posters.
So if you folks had like 2 to 3 more weeks to do something about the projects, like I guess like bring more awareness to students, how would you feel about that?
I think we would make more announcements. We didn't want to do something on Puka Mai Kalak because not everyone watches that. We felt like a PA announcement because everyone will be able to hear that, and like just ourselves going and talking to people.
Yeah, we basically wanted to spread the word out a little better. And our PA system announcements, we could only do that in the morning. We kind of wanted it throughout the day as like little reminders, like, hey, make sure your lights are off. But there was AP exams going on that time, so we couldn't disrupt them. So it was a little bit of too much constraints. But if there wasn't constraints, we'll spread out the word a little more better in that sense so that we can get more participation and possibly just do more buildings than just Konya.
Any other questions?
I noticed forms in Konya, but you had data for Haleakala and Hoʻoulu. So did you not advertise those and you just kind of wanted to see, or?
Yes, actually when our Campus Lights Out Day was going on, we noticed it continue on in other buildings. His speech class actually had some lights turn off, and even Smith office, they participated in it. So we wanted to see if it did affect other buildings at the same time, just to have a little data on that.
So the lights out day was just turning off the light.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not like you all have your own laptops. It doesn't mean unplugging laptops or unplugging other things.
No.
In your home, the thing that's with the most energy is like your water heater. Perhaps it was something else that's using more energy than just light.
A lot of it for them, was they're trying to figure out something that was tangible, because realistically, and they know, because in our room, just because the way it works is there's so much natural light. I don't have my lights on in our room anyway. And the idea is, well, you can't get them to turn off the air conditioner because that was gonna happen anyway. And then, so that was not something, but even like in our room, kids are turning off the air conditioners in our classroom anyway. But you know, there's something that was gonna be reasonable for them to do, even though the air conditioner maybe would have been more. Maybe get a little bit more information. Anything you want to add?
We just wanted to focus on lights because, yeah, we had only a certain amount of time, and our data would be more focused.
Yeah, we thought about the idea of doing AC, but it was hard to just do like one AC, like turning off AC for one day and then lights another day. We wanted to like separate the data and stuff like that. So lights was easier for us to monitor, right? Yes. That was another reason why we just left it in Konya, because it had the most natural lighting. Because Kamehameha, it's kind of like dark and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Kamehameha is a basement.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so we didn't want to like do it where it was such an inconvenience to the teachers. We scheduled all our lights out day with the teachers so that it wasn't too much disruption with their classrooms and the way they want to teach. Yeah.
But you'd be surprised like how much natural lighting you actually get without the lights on. Yeah, because a lot of teachers have their curtains closed for some reason. But yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job, team. Good job, team.
10:53. Oh no, the questions don't come. But also a little bit of guidance that I can give with that is, you know, the Kamehameha is they have a lot of different changing policies. One of them includes they have a master planning, and Konya, this building that we're in now, is actually going to be under construction starting on June 2. So all of our teachers, along with the grading of all of our wonderful assignments that we give you, are stressing out because we have to remove all of our personal effects and put them into boxes and get them there. Internally, what they're going to be doing is working on our classrooms. They'll be removing some things from in the classrooms, but also they'll be putting in lights, LED lights, to help help mitigate some of those challenges. So, you know, Kamehameha is also looking at it through a lot of discussion through the Sustainability Council, which makes up all 3 campuses and all different levels, are looking at trying to find ways to make a difference. And also because talking about it, if we find ways to save money on energy, those monies that are purposed for energy can be used in other ways of getting things out into our students. So yeah, so that's another thing that's actually on tap. So learning a little bit about Lights Out and what's happening there. Our next group is going to be dealing with some of the things about water groups. Yeah, group. One of the group members who has he's the one who drew the shortest straw. So he's here. Actually, a lot of his group members, which I'm sure he'll tell you about, has some other responsibilities this evening. But he's going to be coming up and sharing some information about water.
Okay, I'm group 3. I'm Devin Keefe, and my other group members that couldn't be here are Pukea, Cody, and Melia.
And so our project is on water. So what are we doing? You'll find out. Okay, so history of water. Vai was, or water was, had a great importance in the Hawaiian history. And Vai, wealth or riches, was a direct interpretation of how significant water was to our people. So the more water you had, the richer you're considered. But with that much water, you have to take care of it. And all life depends on water. We drink it and use it to grow food, which is also another vital source to survive. And we can only last 3 days without water and 3 weeks without food. And so we need to, that shows the importance of water. So we need to teach it and pass it down to the next generations. So if you didn't know that our campus uses an aquifer, or an aquifer on campus, we use all the water from there, like supplying like drinking water or bathrooms or restrooms, all the water comes through the aquifer. It's on campus. So our project and sustainability. We were given a task on how can we make Kamehameha a better place through sustainable practices. And this is where we came up with a bug list of common things that we see both at home and in schools. And some of them were electricity, AC, and water. And we got to interview people like our teachers, relatives, and administration to help build our bug list. So what we decided to do, or initially, was to do a water catchment system, which was to collect water, or rainwater, through gutters and put them in barrels and store them. And then our other plan was to use that water and create a rain garden, which was to distribute water all over the garden. And we can also use the water to water our field outside, which is what we were doing for our project, and other stuff with filters and moisture systems. And with the moisture systems, we were going to use an UGMO system, which is a moisture sensor that's inside the ground and can be controlled wirelessly. So our findings and research, we couldn't find a price on the UGMO system because they would have to come down and measure the area and give us a pricing on it. Effects, if we were to limit water with the UGMO system, which was to measure how much water, moisture, and temperature and salinity is in the area, the field outside is a golf course kind of grass, and it requires a certain amount of water. And so some of the effects by limiting the water to there would make the grass die. So we couldn't really limit water to some places. And a lot of people would be complaining about it if they saw the grass going brown. Equipment would be the UGMO system. And some of our contacts are administration, teachers, Wendy Cook, Amy Brinker. Wendy Cook is the head of our operations department, and Amy Brinker is a sustainability manager for our school. So our initial plan, we wanted to do something on water sustainability, usage, and waste. And so we wanted to get people aware of how much water we're using and try to make an impact on them and be mindful how much water they use. And again, we wanted to use Konya as a testing field before we go out and do bigger areas so we can see if the plan works and we can go other places. We measured the field, how long it is. We counted the sprinklers, and half of the field has 6 sprinklers, but the others we couldn't find because they were deep beneath the ground. And how long they stay on. Like if it were to rain, do they keep the sprinklers on, or is there like a rain sensor to sense if it's raining? Also, oh yeah. So about the UGMO system and what we found out about it, it's like the size of your hand. It measures moisture, temperature, and salinity of the soil or different areas. If you wanted to do the system on plants, you would put it beneath the roots of where you water it. And from there, you connect it you pair it with the controller. And from the controller, you can monitor the data that's being sent to it. And if you do turf or like grass outside there, our field, you do it 4 feet beneath or 4 inches beneath the surface. And so our results, did we make it or break it? Fortunately, we couldn't do this because our school was already working on a project like this and installing a similar system with this. So we decided to go with Plan B. Some of the obstacles we had were collecting data on how much water was being used because we didn't have enough time to collect data, and it was hard for us to see how much water our sprinklers were using. We had limited equipment and resources. We couldn't really do the UGMO system because we would have to buy it, and I don't think we have enough money as a group to buy it.
That wasn't in the budget.
Yeah. The UGMO system, if you were to get it and install it into the field, it wouldn't work with other products that are similar to it. And if we were to buy it, we would already be wasting a lot of money when we were trying to save money. And some of us already knew it wasn't going to work, so we just we started to work on another plan for it. And again, the operations were already working on a similar project or installing another one. So our overall data, the total, this is from Amy Brinker through an email. The total estimated gallons used on campus is 76 million gallons. Estimated percentage of consumption due to landscaping is 28%. Estimated consumption in gallons due to landscaping is 21 million. And the cost of all the water for landscaping is 138,000. An estimated potential savings from the sustainability initiatives in landscaping is 15%. So for Plan B, we were gonna do tips like the other group, the previous group, on energy, which was posters, and we wanted to let the people know to save water and be careful on how much you waste or how much you use. And so we came up with water saving tips. We still wanted operations to know about our plan since it wasn't as complicated as the UGMO system. So we just wanted to let them know we're still doing the posters or the tips. And our second round of collecting data and other stuff, we had to change plans quickly so that we could be contacting the administration and teachers. and faculty who knew about certain areas of the school. And we started to go back to our bug lists and try to find other solutions, which is how we came up with the water saving tips and spreading awareness. And we had to pick that solution because it was in the time that we had left for this project. So if the campus had a UGMO system, the amount of water being saved would be dependent on how big the field is and how much water is being used. And if we could do a trial on Konia, and if it worked out, and we saw the results we wanted to see, we could move on to bigger areas like the football field or something. And at the beginning of the project, Amy Brinker told us that that the other campus, the Maui campus, already had this system installed. And so it was set up for every day except for Friday. And right before 12:15 in the morning, the watering algorithm looks at the most recent data for each zone and compares the moisture and targets that are set. So down right here, all the different zones, all along the field. And it looks at the schedule to see when it's allowed to water next. And the system, over the time, the company upgrades the system so it gets better and better. And the irrigation was reduced by 40 to 80%. And so, last impression, some of the tips on water saving or water conservation on campus are monitoring how much water is being used to certain areas, and we can eliminate water waste like that. Next would be putting sprinklers on timers so that they water at night, and when it rains, the system shouldn't go off. And Konia Field doesn't have a rain sensor, so maybe that should be installed at Konia. And finally, the possible water recycling, where the campus can use rainwater to water the grass instead of using the water from the aquifer, so it will be allowed to be recharged. And hopefully we can make sure that the generations after us have what we have now, if not better. Oh, any questions? It's per year. Oh, is that all? We didn't get the data on that. Yeah.
$12.59. So, but also to talk a little bit about what we mentioned, this is a group of looking at it where they had a solution, looking at it, having it in place, and stuff that are already happening. So what do? You have to try and pivot. And the thing about Kamehameha, as you may or may not know, we are drawing from an aquifer system. We don't draw from the Board of Water Supply. And so the monies and things that are there that can be saved from this from our one that drawing from our aquifer. But I would like to also mention that it doesn't have all positive effects. So it might save Kamehameha money. But because Kamehameha is drawing from the aquifer of Kapālama, there's no Kapālama stream anymore. There's a Kapālama stream or river. The one they put the fences around to keep all the homeless people out. Yeah, that's still alive. But because of the water that we are taking, there isn't a river or water that flows through our valley anymore. So it's not always necessarily a good thing. But as we're looking at this and seeing the wonderful solutions it is, they actually had the most challenges out of all the groups that they had, because their barriers were all the adults, and stuff was happening, and we couldn't really do anything about it. But I have to commend the group, and Devin especially, for one, coming up and coming up here by himself, but also having him represent his group was a really good job. But also their group had struggles, and they felt really bad because they didn't know what to report upon. But oftentimes we have to see the challenges that we are facing aren't ones that we can control. We can't necessarily control the news, but we can control how we act and how we respond from it. And they did a very good job of that. For our last group, they're going to come up and tell us a little bit about our food in Akahi. So group 5, you're up.
Aloha, my name is Nainoa Gaspar Takahashi,
And I'm Erica Ishisaka.
and we're from Mr. Blake's Period 6 Mālama Honua class. Today we're presenting to you guys about food waste down at Akahi, and unfortunately 2 of our members couldn't be here today, Preston Kaluhiva and Kaya Hiro, due to prior commitments, but we hope you guys enjoy our presentation.
So to start off, these are a few photos of us working on our presentation. On the picture to the left is where we first started. It is Nainoa and I, and we're doing research on how we could make our campus more sustainable. The top right photo is a picture of Kaya and Preston, our 2 members that couldn't be here today. And those are them dumping the food waste into what we call rivers in the back of Akahi. And then the bottom right picture is a picture of Nainoa, myself, and Preston. And that is in the back of Akahi where we dump our food into.
Our project focused on Akahi Dining Hall here on campus, and we wanted to focus more on the post-consumption food that was being wasted. Post-consumption food is the food that students will put on their plate. They might not touch, but they have to scrape because of the dirtiness, I guess.
So we saw food waste as one of the biggest problems here at this campus. And we also saw it as a problem because it was one of those problems that involves a lot of the students here, because it is the students who are eating the lunch at Akahi Dining Hall. 4 of the main problems that I will address is the food waste on campus. It was estimated annual total generation of 1.4 million pounds. An estimated percent of total sent to the landfill was 91%. The estimated percent of total diverted from landfill was 9%. And the estimated percent of total that is food waste was 40%. And that is a lot.
We did ask for some information from our Akahi workers, and they told us that the average waste in Akahi is about 111 pounds per lunch period. And just keep in mind that there is 2 lunch periods per block day. But there was a study before where the Akahi dining workers would serve the students their food, and by doing so, their waste came out to 84 pounds per lunch period. This saved 27 pounds compared to the average waste during the week, and 24% reduction of post-consumption.
So this picture that you see here was taken from one of our days in our first week of food. It is really gross, but this is what our food waste looks like at school. This was during the first lunch, actually. So the average cost is $3.90 per quart of food wasted.
and 1 quart of food is equal to an average of 2 pounds.
We also had Amy Brinker come and talk to us about this food waste problem here on campus. And at first we didn't really know anything about it, but she did bring it to our attention that there are 2 components to food waste, and one of them is the pre-consumer food waste, and that's all the food that is not eaten or even put out for the students to touch. And we thought that this was a big impact because sometimes a lot of students don't really eat lunch, or sometimes the students don't like the food that is being served. So we noticed that there is a lot of food being wasted that is not being touched by the students.
And another word that has been said throughout this presentation is post-consumed or post-consumer. And this is mainly the food that is being touched by students. It doesn't have to be eaten, but as long as it's on our plate, it is considered as post-consumed food. And that is the stuff that is being wasted and dumped.
Throughout this project, we did hit a lot of roadblocks. At first, we wanted to tackle both problems, pre-consumer and post-consumer, but with the time restraint we had, we figured out we couldn't do both. One of our ideas was using the company Aloha Harvest, and this is an organization that comes and collects the untouched food and distributes it upon those in need. One of our other ideas was having a pig farm here on campus. I know it may sound funny, but there is a lot of land here that is not being used, and we thought, why not have a pig farm? Because, you know, by doing so, we could have the food waste being fed to the pigs, and, you know, later on we could have some Hawaiian food in the future. Yeah, pork sandwiches. And lastly was compost, and this was inspired by one of the teachers down at Lanikai Elementary School. She actually started a project, and by doing so, she created little to no waste.
So we really wanted to go through with Aloha Harvest, although that we couldn't. We thought it was a really good idea and it would have helped a good cause because you're feeding the homeless by doing this. So Aloha Harvest is a company that takes pre-consumed food waste from places, and it is free of liability. And what they do is they donate the food to homeless shelters to help feed people. Unfortunately, Flick has donated to Aloha Harvest before, so that's why we couldn't do it. And it's because Akahi Dining Hall, they repurpose 90% of their food, which would only leave about 10% to Aloha Harvest. Although it is 10%, we still wanted to do it, but we would have to get it approved first.
So our project was to gain awareness, to portray awareness to the students here on campus to the amount of food that is actually being wasted. And we wanted to teach our students that we want them to take only what they're going to eat, because a lot of food is being wasted here on campus.
So this is our plan of action. As you can see from pictures before, we use clear bins for people to dump their food in. And that was to show the amount of food that was being wasted during each lunch block. Then we would take the bins, take it into the back, and we would weigh the food. And we would log every day for only block days. And we did it for 2 weeks. The first week was just to get an average, and then the second week was to get like how much of a difference we made.
This is the section of Akahi Dining Hall where we put our trays and dump our foods. For the first week, we wanted to create like a baseline to compare our results to. So we didn't put any signs up. We didn't use any clear bins. Oh, I think we did use clear bins, but we didn't put any advertisement of food tracking. We just wanted to see like how much the students waste on daily basis.
So this is the result of our first week. The first day was a Monday, and we served shoyu chicken. This was one of the heaviest days, even for our first day. There was a lot of wasted rice and chicken bones, which made the weight really heavy, and it weighed at 200 and 17 pounds. The second day was American breakfast, and there was a lot of rice, and there was full waffles, and no one ever took a bite out of them. A lot of those were wasted, and it was just bins of them, and those were at 205 pounds. The third day was beef stew, and literally everything. There was stuff from fruits to salad to a whole pound of rice and the beef stew itself, which weighed 197 pounds. And then our last day of that week was pork and green chili tamales. And a lot of the weight came from the Spanish rice and the corn husk from the tamales, and that weighed at 228 pounds.
Erica did just go over the weight, but I wanted to go over the estimated costs that each day food was wasted. As you can see, for May 2nd, about $423.15. That's how much money was wasted going to the food waste. The next day was $399.75. The day after that was $384.50. And the last day was $444.60. In total waste in pounds, we wasted 847 pounds within 1 week, and that's just during our block days. We didn't take data from the regular day. And the total cost was $1,651.65.
So the picture to the left is the major signs that we put up in Akahi. It is these signs right here, and we made it big enough for people to see, and we put it next to where people are dumping their trays and stuff. So on our signs, it shows the block day, the date, what we had for lunch that day, and every day we would weigh our food, and we would write the weight for each lunch. Then the next picture, the top right picture over there is where we put one of our many signs. We had this one design, and we put it literally everywhere in Akahi where we thought that it would grab people's attention. And the bottom right picture is when we were leaving Chef Dean. He was having a meeting with his staff, and we thought it was really cool because he was trying to get the word of our project out, how we're trying to help Akahi save food and its waste.
Like Erica said, we did hang these signs up by where the students put their trays, and we logged down each day of how much food they're wasting so that they're able to see visually how much they are wasting.
This is our poster. It was designed by Nainoa, and we wanted to make a really visually attractive sign to get people's attention. So we had them up on the glass windows. We had them on hanging from lights on the trays where they serve food and stuff. And these signs were hung up in the serving areas of Akahi, as well as where students would dump their food. Signs bring awareness to food waste as well as to the project and mission we were trying to achieve.
As you can see here, this is our second week of data. And on the first day, which was Monday, May 9th, what was for lunch was beef chili. And the thing that was wasted most was basically everything. But with our signs and advertisements up, students only wasted about 115.5 pounds. The next day was chicken and vegetable stir fry. And we saw that rice and vegetables were mostly wasted. And the students wasted about 137.5 pounds. On Wednesday was pulled pork sandwiches. And the thing we saw wasted the most was bread. And their total waste came out to 143.5 pounds. And on the last day, Friday, was the pasta bar that we usually have. Of course, mostly wasted items were pasta. And the students wasted a total of 158.5 pounds.
So this is our data from the second week, and there's a lot of cost difference. So from the first day, it was $225.22. The second day was $268.12. The third day was $279.82, and the fourth day was $309.07. there was a total waste of 555 pounds and a total cost of $1,082.23.
In conclusion, this is just an overview of what we've been talking about. On week 1, again, we wasted 847 pounds, which equaled out to the cost of $1,651.65. And then on week 2 is when we used our boards and advertisement, and the total waste was 555 pounds, and with a total cost of $1,082.23.
So from the data collected, it is determined that our experiment was successful. From week 1 to week 2, the amount of food wasted has decreased by 292 pounds, and Akahi Dining Hall has saved $569.42 within our 2 weeks.
We just want to thank you guys for your attention and presence here today. We'd also like to thank Mr. Blake, our teacher, and the Akahi Dining Hall people, because they really helped us out a lot. We've seen this as a learning experience, and we hope you guys can take away from it too. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Nice. Oh.
So I know you did a lot of weighing and you did some observation. Do you think it changed behavior, or do you think maybe the kids didn't like what was being served that day? Like, are you thinking about what other kind of data you need to collect to get a better idea?
Well, I made the poster, the attention poster, and it said food tracking. I kind of wanted to intimidate our students to kind of let them know like something is happening here on campus. So I wanted to kind of hope, that's what I'm thinking, that what's made the effect. But something that was definitely taken in deep consideration was what type of food was being wasted. And like how we showed on the first day was chicken, like all the chicken bone, like we know that can't be eaten by students here on campus. So it did contribute a lot to the weight. So there's still some kinks we have to work out, but yeah.
So what did they say about Aloha Harvest? What did they say? Because they said they wouldn't do it.
Well,
I know the story, but can you help to share the story for everybody else to at least understand it?
We actually emailed, he emailed Aloha Harvest and they wanted to work with us, but they would have to be coming up a lot of times throughout the day because we serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner here. And because like I said before that we have gone through them before, it is 10%. Although 10% is still a lot, I guess like it's not enough to like give to them, I guess. If we could, we still would give to them though, because it's still a good cause.
So they said it wasn't enough, even though it was something.
Yeah.
So the adults again.
Adults
Yeah.
again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
One more question.
Oh, yeah.
So you mentioned that Click repurposes 90% of the pre-consumer food. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that means that they reuse that in something on another day or another meal?
Yes, that's what they've told us. So yeah.
Well, like it's not touched food. Like they have it, but they don't cut it up or they don't cook it and serve it to us. Like the bread, I know they used to use it for croutons before. I know that. And then they save a lot of stuff that they know that is still fresh and good for us to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we have chicken so often. Oh. Good food. Good food.
Nearly done, but some of the things that we're talking about here for the challenges include for the food, it's very, very important for us, again, to do that. And part of the thing is their data was good because we do serve a population. And actually what's funny, totally and completely semi-related to what's happening. Our school schedule is based around lunch. Isn't that awesome? Okay, because at the most part of the day where our students are ready to learn from 10:35 to 12:15, there's absolutely zero learning going on. Oh, other than chapel, which is a learning opportunity to happen in there, and kanaiponos, and study hall, perhaps, which happens to be a lot of other stuff out there. Okay, so as we're finishing up, we do have one more group. So we're going to be ended up going full circle. So we started out with the recycling station and looking at what's happening, came back to on campus. And what's funny is this group is actually spanning both on campus and off campus and possibly other things that are happening. So our last group will be having and coming up and talking a little bit about the recycling plans. And with this unique makeup of this group, which they'll tell you about, this is why they picked it. So they'll be up in a second. 1449. The seniors.
Well, I have to use the mic.
No. Well, you can just walk like a pedal by, yeah? Touch it.
Yeah.
There was supposed to be a break at 3, but I just kept on going.
Yeah. It's almost.
Wait, do I press the button?
Yes. When you're ready.
Okay, never mind. Vilina pumihana kako e na makua, na kumu me na hawana. Welcome students, staff, parents, whoever. My name is Maluhia. I am a boarder. This is Kealohi, a day student. This is Kai, a boarder, and Kaylin, a boarder. So, of course, what we wanted to focus on for our Ho'oulu ya Kamehameha project is a donation station within the boarding community.
So as Malu already went over, the donation station was for the boarding community. It was also to cut back on Kamehameha's waste. So we have some information. Oh. So this is some very secretive information that Amy Brinker shared with us. It hasn't been shared yet with outside of the Kapālama Kamehameha community. So we're really fortunate to have access to this kind of numbers. So I want to point out some really big numbers that we have. So there's 1.4 million pounds of waste is generated every year. This is like an estimated amount. They actually had workers come on campus, sort through waste for a couple of days and just kind of monitor and log down what kind of waste came out of it. Another one was 32% of the waste came from non-recyclables. And the last one was 562 pounds of food waste. So the slide that you saw earlier was for the Kapālama campus. Just for a visual, we kind of condensed all the other information from Pukalani campus and Kea'au. So as you can see, there's 1.4 million pounds from Kapālama, and then there's 411,000 pounds from Kea'au on the Big Island, and then there's 314,000 pounds of waste from Pukalani campus. So Kai's going to go over other factors.
So we wanted to take a look closer and see what was causing this waste. And we broke it down into different categories, including food, green waste, cardboard, and non-recyclables. And as you can see, Kapālama's numbers are a lot larger. Some of the factors on why Kapālama's campus has a lot more waste. One of the reasons is because of enrollment. We have a lot more students on our campus. Another reason is our campus size. It's a lot larger than the other two. And also because we are the only campus with boarding.
Right, so tying in what Kai just said, this graph compares the sizes between all three campuses, and the other two campuses actually are combined smaller than Kapālama campus. So because of our campus size, it requires more maintenance, more construction, and more people, which also contribute to trash. But keeping in mind that Kapālama doesn't use all of its land still yet. So. So another important contributor to trash is the students. Of the 3,000 students attending Kapālama, 400 are boarders who live on the campus for 9 months during the school year. And the other two campuses have a little over a third of the total that we have. Also contributing to the waste are the 27 dorm advisors and their families who live here on campus year-round.
So we wanted to take a look at this kind of special thing about the Kapālama campus, which is the boarding community. We wanted to ask these specific questions, which is, what supplies do the boarders bring in at the beginning of the year or throughout the year? What are they wasting, and why are they wasting? So we kind of did a little bit of research into the boarder handbook. We couldn't really find very much specifics onto what they should bring, leaving a lot of kind of misunderstanding, I think, for a lot of parents that bring their students. Usually, being a boarder, we kind of experience this. Usually buy like too much soap or too much of this or that at the beginning of the year, and it doesn't really help that there's no specifics in the boarding handbook.
So for our data collection, we created a Google survey. We asked at the end of each school year, how many unused and unopened of the following do you have left? We did the basic shampoo and conditioner because those are like necessities. About 44% said they had 1 to 3 bottles of shampoo remaining, and 33% said they had 1 to 3 bottles of conditioner.
We also went and collected information for body wash and laundry detergent, and we found out that close to 40% said that they have 1 to 3 bottles, and close to 50% said that they have 1 to 3 bottles of laundry detergent unused. And keep in mind, each dorm has approximately 50 students per dorm, so it tends to add up once you collect all those students.
So these are the results for why people are wasting, and 45% of people said that it was because they didn't want to bring it back home with them. 29% said that they bought too much or have too much stuff, and 26% wasted for another reason. When asked, would you be willing to donate leftover supplies at the end of the school year, about 86% of them said that they would, so that's good.
Okay, so I'll go to the mic now. When Amy Brinker came to talk to us during the school year, she gave us something called the waste management triangle. Yep. And at the top, you can see that there's reduce, then reuse, then compost and packaging, then incineration, then landfill, and then fire is kind of short for bonfire. If you're wondering what the difference is between incineration and bonfire, it's incineration has filters to filter all the bad stuff for when they're burning, and bonfires usually just burn it and let all the chemicals and stuff go into the atmosphere. And so our group, or Amy, was telling us that we should focus on those top 3: reducing the waste, reusing the waste, and packaging it in some useful form.
So after further review of all of our data that we collected, including enrollment size, campus size, the boarding community, and the statistics that we borrowed from the sustainability project, we decided to do a hybrid version of the donation station that Kauai Plaza was doing at the time, and I think they're still doing it now, obviously. So we decided to do a hybrid for the boarding department.
especially since 3 of our group members were boarders. So kind of like hit home, I guess.
So our goal was not the creation of a free store, but rather managing the border's waste using those top 3 objectives, which is the reducing, the reusing, and the packaging of the waste to better our campus and to better those who will probably need it next year or the years to come.
So for our implementation, we created a flyer. This was to introduce and promote our project to the boarders. So we placed the flyers in the dorm offices and on the donation boxes. And it basically tells the students what they can donate, what they shouldn't donate, and also when it was happening and when it was ending.
So this is when we distributed the boxes, and 2 boxes were going per dorm. So it was a total of 16 boxes. So our original date was planned for April 26th to May 6th, but we had to push it back from May 5th to May 16th because boarders were major cleaning at that time, and it was just more convenient for the boarders.
So in these photos, this is after we collected all of our donations for the girls' dorms. As you can see, we had a lot of clothing. We opened the bags and we sorted them out by shirts, jackets, dresses, bikinis and bras, pants and shorts, and other miscellaneous items such as school supplies, shoes, bags, towels, and blankets, and also soap. As you can see, shirts were really popular as far as the donations for the girls.
Okay, so next was the kind of what we did for the boys. It was kind of hard because there was like 2 people helping me, and it was having to go around, collect each box, and come back to my dorm. But as you can see, we have oh, not yet. Okay. So as you can see, we have just t-shirts, shoes, shorts, and just miscellaneous stuff. It was hard because we only got 2 dorms to donate. The other 2 dorms had nothing in their boxes, so it was kind of a not really a communication thing, but a timing thing.
So for data analysis, evidently we ended up getting more clothing than soaps. We chose to compare it to soaps because that was our Google survey results. We had a total of 301 shirts or tops, 182 shorts and pants, and 184 miscellaneous items such as school supplies, towels, beddings, and soaps. So a couple of obstacles that we faced throughout this project. Oh, those are pictures of the inventory that we collected. We just kind of like graphed it out for you guys to see. The obstacles we had was manpower, like who was going to help us distribute the boxes and collect the donations, as well as who was going to take care of the inventory. Kai and Kaylin took care of the inventory. Oh yeah. Okay, it's gonna restart. Yeah, and fortunately, we also had dorm sisters help us. Emma Klein helped the girls out, take care of all of their donations. And Malu mentioned earlier that he had some of his dorm brothers.
Like I said before, another one of the obstacles we had was timing. As the boarders usually start cleaning around like this week, it wasn't really a prime time for us to get donations. The boys are pretty lazy and don't start cleaning their rooms till like next week. So
we wanted to think about, is this project really going to work in the future? We feel that we'd need to continue tracking over time, seeing if this donation station for the boarding department is going to work. That way we'll have comparable data
throughout the years, and hopefully it'll actually build a donation station and a store for future boarders to use.
Also, we've received a lot of positive feedback from boarders saying that we should have this more often because it's just very convenient. Like, it's another option for them to donate things to the boarders.
So the donation station ended up to be a really good success. We had a lot of donations, and my dorm advisor is Mrs. V, who's actually holding all of the donations over the summer. And she hopes to open it up in the beginning of the next school year for any incoming boarders who can't afford to buy the supplies or who need new uniforms and can't afford it. Thank you.
Mahalo. Any questions?
That was creative. Who thought of that?
It was Amy Brinker had come and talked to the three groups, and since we had three boarders, we thought it would be a lot easier anyway to work on campus and through the boarding community.
I also wanted to add in the beginning with the store down in Kaka'ako, she was only taking school supplies, and I was thinking for us as boarders, not as much school supplies, but we have a lot of soaps and like house stuff that we throw away. So that was also part of the idea, was like, how do we prevent that waste?
Think about possibly, if you were going to be here next year, expanding it down to middle school, or maybe having this. I'm sure storage is going to be an issue as it grows in popularity, and maybe just why not? Hold that. We've got other alternatives to storing at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest issues. We were just lucky to have Miss B kind of in on the plan. But that was like the biggest issue, because having somewhere to store everything or having somebody to like watch over everything, especially during the year, was a kind of is a big responsibility. And I know that a lot of organizers already have enough stuff to do, and they kind of don't want to have more, So, but I think middle school is a good idea. We weren't really thinking too far because of the due dates on a project like this, but we were hoping at least that it would continue in the high school level.
What did the boarding department say as far as possibly continuing this?
I know that Mrs. V was pretty. She wanted to keep it going, but she just didn't really know how to start it up, And ever since I've been here, I've always seen donation boxes at the end of the year last week, and don't really know where they go. So it would have been nice to have kind of those items be recirculated through the boarding community.
That was another benefit. When we were sorting through the clothes, sometimes we'd find clothing items that were more than gently used. So we were able to put those in different bags for Big Brothers and Big Sisters donations as well. Yes.
I have to pass that torch.
Yeah. We plan to.
Next Mālama Honua class.
And also, it's when we were distributing the boxes, not a lot of people knew about it, even some of the DAs. And we reached out to them. Malu would email them like every other day, and they'd bring it up at the draft meetings. But I guess it's communication. But like the other groups faced was, I guess, participation. It's hard to get adults on board, especially when we're like high school seniors or high schoolers in general. But I think finding a way to cooperate with, the upper group that are like leading us, I think that would be much more beneficial, and we'd see better results. So if there's a way that we can, join together and move forward.
Thank you.
$13.25. Now we're reaching the end of our wonderful opportunity. I did forget to talk a little bit about the project. No, the project started actually when I'm actually a physics teacher myself, and it was a physics thing. But when I came to begin to start this elective class, I found it as a great opportunity to do so. And so, talking to some of my former kumu and other people, so Ho'oulu is to grow, you know, and so Ya Kamehameha, so it's the idea of growing Kamehameha. And so, having them to begin to leave a legacy, which is great because as a graduate of a while ago, I'm actually going to be sharing my alumni weeks, which is a pretty big deal here with these seniors that I'm totally happy about. But because we're sharing this with them, of figuring this out is leaving their legacy and telling their story. You know, I've had opportunity to have a lot of great experiences, partly because of this class, but just being able to pay attention and listen. But the idea of once you know what you have to do, now your next step is to be able to tell these stories to others. And providing opportunities for these students through this class is great. I mean, we started my first year last year with 13 students. This year we're at 24. Used to be 24, it's 23. But next year, through my situation, I only teach 2 classes. And next year, we're actually going to have to turn people away, which is a pretty good thing. There's over 50 people who have applied for the class, and I'm only allowed to have 2 of them. So it's something a little bit different, but you know, it's a very fortunate opportunity to have as we're continuing to grow. The good news is that we'll be able to take and be able to have contact with more students and to be able to make a wider difference, because there'll be more groups and more people doing different things. And starting this earlier is definitely listening to a lot of the challenges that we have is starting earlier, so that when we find and get to our solutions, we don't hear that adults get in the way. And I'm one of the adults, because part of it is with the time and where it's done with semester exams and AP exams and all the people here. But having people and having other literally tens of people watch this thing on the interwebs is going to be ways for us to spend out this message and be able to make a difference. Because all we can ask for them is to go out there, tell their stories, and continue to make a difference. I want to thank all of you for showing up and spending this wonderful time with us. And there's dessert in the back, as well as some more meat sandwiches. But I want to thank everybody for showing up this wonderful evening. If we can, I'm going to stop the broadcast, but if I can get a picture with everybody so I can show everybody there are like people here, so that. But thank you again for sharing this evening with us. Mahalo.